Nephi, here he is. He's still such a young man. He's not even really sure what his whole purpose in all of this is yet. Because his father is still the prophet. He's just learning. He's just learning. He's doing what the Lord asked him to do. He's doing what his father asked him to do. They haven't even got to the promised land yet, and here the Lord is showing him in a vision, ultimately, that his seed and the seed of his brothers will be wiped out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's got to be kind of, I would think it would be demoralizing if you didn't have a firm understanding of the atonement of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Right? If you thought, well, man, this life is all it is, and my posterity's not even going to make it, right? That would be enough to just go ahead and cast down your walking sticks and head back to Jerusalem, right? I mean, if it's all for naught, why don't I just go back to Jerusalem? But he has a perfect brightness of hope that the atonement of Jesus Christ can make all those unfair things and those bad things okay again. That's what I thought about when I read the first half of this chapter.
So I have a question for you, Ed. Mm-hmm. So you're a cancer survivor.
Yes.
How do you think that your experience with surviving cancer relates here in the scriptures? What kind of parallels can you draw?
It's funny you asked that. Well, I say it's funny, but it's not really funny.
Coincidence.
Actually,
no coincidences here. It's divine design.
That's right. I actually thought about this because I didn't get my patriarchal blessing until years afterwards. And when I read it, there was some things in there that talked about the trials I'd go through that would try to stop me from doing what the Lord would want me to do. And so, I kind of thought, if I would have known that I would have had cancer when I was a teenager, I mean, I'm a young guy, I don't know much. Going against a virus that is trying to kill you, I might say, well, what chance do I have?
Yeah.
What chance? Why do I even bother with anything? Much less the gospel.
Right.
But I'm very glad that because I had family that really cared about the gospel, they understood that Jesus Christ, he went through everything that I was going to feel. They really instilled in me a desire to keep pressing forward. And so even when I felt physical pain, I knew that the Savior had already felt that, and he was just telling me to hold on. And so just kind of like in Nephi, I think Nephi had this idea, well, I can still keep going forward. It's not all set in stone. As far as what we can do now,
Right.
We still have the opportunity to do good, and it's not all lost, like Kevin said. It's not all for naught.
It makes me think, I actually had the opportunity to sit in on a blessing one time for somebody. And in the blessing, they said she actually might have had cancer as well. Actually, she had something going on in her brain, and so she asked for a blessing. And in this blessing, they specifically said, your Savior has already passed through this trial. And I remember thinking, well, that's a really interesting way to look at your trials, right? Or your afflictions, that your Savior has already passed through them. So you can make it through too, and you can keep pressing forward, which I think is exactly what you were conveying when you just shared that. And so that's amazing. It really is. So